For the first time ever on this show, we are welcoming back a previous guest. 2 years ago, I had a wonderful conversation with Mel Gorham, and today Mel is back joining us again. I'm so happy to be talking with you, Mel. I'm so excited. And before we get into things, just for anyone watching or listening to this who's curious, what all have you been up to since our previous conversation 2 years ago?
Well, interesting that you asked that question. I got talked into getting back in the business after a 14-year hiatus. And I said, no, 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 to my friend who believes in me. His name is Al Rodrigo. He lives out in California, and I've known him since the 1980s. And he saw me. I had dinner with him and his wife in New York about maybe 9 months ago or 8 months ago. And he's just like, I don't understand why, you're keeping that gift that you have to make people laugh in a closet with a lock on it. You should really consider going back in the business. Well, I'm not a superstitious person, but I also believe in karma, and I believe that, like things happen for a reason. Um, uh, Even though I fought him, I finally I took the blinders off and I said, okay, I'm 65 years old. I haven't really been represented by anyone in 14 years, and I have to get representation. That's going to be hard. But for some reason, things started to fall into place, like naturally, without having to work that hard to do it. And that was giving me a good feeling of moving forward with the idea of going, back into Hollywood, back in the workforce. So my friend Al said, you got to watch the White Lotus. Mel, look at Jennifer Coolidge's career. She's kind of like you. You had a lot of really good movies you did in your 30s and your 40s, and then you went and you kind of you disappeared for a while, a long while. I looked at the White Lotus, I watched it, and I thought she was brilliant. And I thought to myself, damn, she's got a similar type of background career like I do, and very professional, and people know her, and why not? I mean, she is 65 years old and she's just rocking Hollywood at this point. And I believe in myself that much that I think I can, pretty much do the same on my own, without, I'm not a competitive person, and I'm not a jealous person, and I don't look at another actress and wish I had her career or her looks or anything. I'm me, and I've always been that way. Then out of the blue, I start seeing lots of Pamela Anderson, and I thought, well, she's 59 years old, and she was, basically quiet for a long. She got out of the business. She had a rough life. That one had a rough life. When you're a sex symbol, and people just look at you as sexual, and she never really got out of that. With Playboy and everything else. I've read all about her now, so I'm really keen on who she was and who she's become. She's a trailblazer, and I love her for that. Between her taking off all her makeup, her mask, and between Jennifer Coolidge, like just owning that show, which is a difficult show to do, I said, I'm going to give this a shot. So, because I have a problem going to people and asking them for favors, it's just not who I am. I'm a giver, not a taker, always been that way. I went to a couple of my friends and they were all like, well, good luck. Nobody wants to really lift a finger because they're struggling themselves to get apart. And so that's the females. But I went to a male friend of mine, and he happens to be one of the nicest, coolest people I've ever met in my life. His name is Wilson J. Heredia, and he won a Tony on Broadway for Rent. He played the gay boy who dies. Okay, in the movie also. He did both parts. I met him in Buffalo when I did the Rainbow Bridge Motel about 7 years ago, and I just adore him. He's just a great guy. He lives out in Jersey with his wife and his daughter. And I called him and I said, Wilson, what do you think about me getting back in really getting back in the business? I mean, I've done two movies and I've done a television show, and I've done quite a bit with producing and and creating my own documentaries in the last 14 years since I've been away, away. He says, Mel, it's the best news ever to get you back in the business. He goes, hang on. A day goes by and he calls me and he goes, call this man in LA. His name is Mitch Clem, Mitch Clem Management in Los Angeles. He's in Hollywood. And I said, well, who is he? He goes, well, that's been my manager all along. And he's great. And I called him and I told him who you were. And I told him to go to your website and do a little, like a research on who you are. And he wants to talk to you. So I called the guy next day, Mitch, and I said, hi, my name is Mel. He goes, I know all about you. He goes, what is it that you want? I said, what I want is to get back in, but with elegance, class, and finesse. I I'm ready to take on, like, I'll go toe to toe with anybody. I'm not afraid. I'll do a movie with Robert De Niro, which I've done before, two of them. And I'm not afraid of acting with anyone. Meryl Streep, no problem. You know, I'll give them a run for their money. I feel confident that way. And that's all I've ever done is this. So this is me. And so he took me on. He decided to take me on and he said, okay, so we're going to have to do a little work together. And I said, okay. He goes, I know you're not a techie, but you're going to have to learn to put yourself on self-tape. I bought the little machine. I did all of that. I got a friend to help me teach me how to do it. And I lost weight. I let my hair grow out. I'm now a platinum blonde because in Hollywood, I was always a brunette, always. I was never blonde. And then I went and got brand new headshots taken, and I got a brand new website built. I'm very proud of my website, which is now www.melgorham, melgorham.com. And I'm very proud of it because it really does depict, dissects a 40-year career. More than that, my God, if I'm 65 and I started really young, I started like at 15. Yeah, it's a long time. Anyway, and do the math. Always do the math. So yeah, so now Mitch Clem represents me, and Unbelievable, the movie, which I star in and I co-star in with Scott Rubin, just got a home on the one and only Prime Amazon, and I'm really happy about it. So now, it's going to get seen, and I want people to watch it and laugh and enjoy. And that's my purpose for waking up in the morning now, that I know that I'm back doing what God gave me, and that gift is making people laugh. So that's where I'm at right now. Hmm.
Hey, that's awesome. That is so awesome, El. That is wonderful. You mentioned Unbelievable, and what's really cool about this is that it being out on Amazon now. This is the first time for some people like myself. This is the first time that we've been able to see this film. I know the film has been shown in Buffalo, around the Buffalo area, a lot. There's been a lot
And
of showings.
Los Angeles too. It had its own little red carpet moment in Los Angeles about 6 months ago. And it was a full house and everybody was doubled over laughing, so that was really good. And then of course Scott goes to all of the showings, so he's getting a real clear picture of the feedback that he's getting from the audience, and so he knows. But yeah, to get on Amazon Prime is really great, and it has a home now. And so does the Rainbow Bridge Motel that I did with him. That's on Amazon Prime as well. So that he's got two movies now on there that he wrote, directed, starred in, and produced. Yeah, and he was the Scott was the chief of editor for a lot of years at National Lampoon. So Scott is a natural born comic and writer, great writer. And he's very funny. He reminds me of like a sort of a Jackie Gleason type. He's just got something unusual about him. The way, his timing, and he's very, very good with very professional. He's very, very professional. We went to the University of Miami together. We studied drama at the Ring Theater together. We met when we were 17 and we're both 65. Well, I just turned 66 Monday. But yeah, so I'm just saying that it's a pleasure to be able to work with someone you've known this long, and I trust him and he trusts me. He barely directs me. I have to ask him, because he just trusts me. He knows if he writes a role specifically for me, and he's done it 3 times now in the last 7 years. Um, and why is it that I did this with him and now going back into the workforce? What's the difference? The difference is that I basically did this for him and to keep my wheels oiled without a manager, without an agent, just doing it. And because I suffer so greatly from anxiety disorder and panic attacks, doing this was like therapy for me. Doing these last 3 projects with him was therapy for me. And I have to say that I didn't get a panic attack when I was shooting. It was amazing that I was able to, you know, do what I did. It was a lot of lines and a lot of physical activity, a lot of physical activity, especially, when I fell backwards, that
Mhm.
it's a dangerous thing to do, especially when you're in your 60s. But I trusted that they had a big mattress underneath me and these 2 guys, big guys, in case anything, and I was told just stay straight and go backwards. And I did. And, I did like 4 or 5 takes on it and it worked. And yeah, but I pulled Lucille Ball out. I pulled Carol Burnett out. They're inside of me. And I've always had them, they're on my shoulders. Those 2 ladies, the queens of comedy. And then there's a lot of them now too. There's a lot of great actresses out there now that are very funny. They come right from Saturday Night Live, and they're amazing. Uh, so yeah, that's really, I'm not expecting much, but if it happens and I get that real opportunity once again in my life, like I did when I got NBC's Union Square. If you ever watch that, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. I got my own network comedy sitcom, and it was a lot of great fun to do, I must say. And I got picked up for 13 episodes, and then that's where my that's where everything changed for me. And I was 37 when it happened. And they replaced me with another actress who's Mexican, and the show ended up falling apart. And this is the truth. I mean, I did nothing wrong. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I mean, I do drink, but I don't drink like when I'm doing work. I'll have my wine or my champagne at parties and that's it. But I don't do drugs and I show up before I'm supposed to be there and I know my lines. And so I don't know what happened and I never was given closure. And that was really what flipped me out back then. And I started getting panic attacks. And I've talked to enough people about it and had enough therapy about it that I'm okay now with knowing that if I get one, I know what to do. I have tools now, which I didn't have before. So that's why it happened, because I had lost the biggest opportunity I had ever been given in my entire career. Besides 7 movies with Harvey Weinstein at Miramax, and now he's in jail. So I never had issues with Harvey. And that's why when I saw that day about 4 years ago when he was arrested, my jaw dropped to the floor because I used to call him Papa Bear. I used to walk in his office and put my feet on his desk and make him laugh. And he didn't attempt anything on me. Maybe it was because I was funny and that wasn't sexy to him. But he never did anything. And I have to be honest, I'm not going to lie. So, in the last years, I mean, a lot's gone down, and it's for me anyway, because Paul Auster died, and he's the one who gave me my opportunity in Smoke and Blue in the Face back in 1995, and he died last year, and then Harvey goes to jail, and these were the 2 big guys that gave me my opportunity in the 1990s in New York City, and I took off. Because of them, I took off, and because of them both. Paul Auster and Harvey Weinstein, I ended up getting my own TV show on NBC because Warren Littlefield saw it and he was like, grabbing this girl and I'm going to give her her own sitcom. So that's what happened. That's what went down for me many, many years ago. And when I decided to get out at 52, the reason was that I was just exhausted. I was exhausted from all the pain and losing my job, and it wasn't ever going to be the same for me again. I was climbing up so rapidly, and I have to be proud enough to say that whatever I have gotten, I've never gotten on my back. I've earned it. I've worked very hard at any role that's ever thrown at me, and that becomes my entire, focus. And so I'm not afraid to go back into business and act opposite anybody. And I hope that happens. But if it doesn't, I'm okay too. I have a great life. I'm very blessed and very fortunate and very grateful.
I remember in our previous conversation, and I remember that we talked a little bit about Union Square and how that ended up leading to your artwork because you're an artist.
Yes.
Um, and I actually wanted to ask, I mean, have you done any more paintings at all recently?
No, it's funny, Sam, that you asked me that. I have to tell you, there's a really, really interesting story. That my background in art is interesting. I never knew how to draw. I never knew how to paint. I was not, I love interior design. That's really my forte in the life outside of entertainment business. My thing is decorating, and I feel like I'm pretty darn good at it. I trust myself. And the only thing too is I do believe in that anybody who has doubt in what they're doing inside of or outside of a house or a lawn or a garden. And I always say, when in doubt, paint it white, and just a clean canvas. So where does that start? I moved to California after I lost my job without even knowing why I lost my job. And that's really truly pulling the red carpet from underneath somebody and falling backwards without a mattress there. When that happened, I moved to California and I got back on the horse that bucked me. And I was living in New York at the time in my loft in Tribeca. And I rented it out and I moved with my Great Dane to LA. And I just went to an art shop and I bought one canvas, real big one. And I bought an easel and I bought water, not colors, but water, water-based paint, not oil. And I got back to my place and I bought a really good bottle of champagne and I put my favorite 70s music on and I created a painting and I left it on the easel. And when some friends would come over, they were like, "Who did that?" And I said, "That's my first painting ever." Well, it became something that blossomed out of me at 37 years of age. Then I started to paint. Then I went back and got more paint, more canvases, blank canvases, and I started to paint. And then I started to sell them. And then it went into, a life thing between 37 and now 66, where here's how I do it. I don't paint all the time, but when I get that urge and I start to feel it, I'll go out and buy 15 canvases and I knock them out in a week. And then I don't paint for 5 years. So all my paintings that I have and the ones I've sold all are dated. So they go back to 1997. And the last time I painted was 2018. I haven't painted in 18. Yeah. So we're in 25 now. Yeah, I think maybe 21. I'd have to look. But I've sold about 30 paintings and I've sold them, I don't know I didn't know what to charge for them. I was, but then I started just, selling them for like 600, 750. And then I finally sold one for 1200 about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when I wrote a book called The Perils of Isabella the Great Dane. She was my Great Dane before my puppy that I have now, Tallulah. And I had a big thing at a bookshop, and all my friends came, and I put all my paintings up on these all easels. I bought all these easels, and I put all my paintings up, and I sold like six of them that night. And one of them sold for 1,500. That was the one with I named her Ava. So every girl that I paint has a name And it has something on it that I found either in the streets of Paris or the streets of London or the streets of Miami or anywhere I am. If I find an earring or a glove or even a shoe, one, I incorporate it in my painting. So I have a box because I haven't painted in so long. I have a box that's ready for another 10 canvases, of pieces that I've picked up. It's really cool. I mean, it's just that's how I paint. And I can't push myself. It has to be organic and natural. And then I just go, that's it. It's time. So maybe I'll do it soon. I don't know. I don't know. Right now at this moment, I'm more concentrated on, getting back in the workforce and pleasing my new manager, Mitch Clem, out in LA, than anything else. But no, I still have I'd say about 9 paintings left to sell and I have them in a very protected in a closet where it's cool. And yeah, but they're on a lot of them are on my website. You can see them on my website if you press under artist, and you'll see some of the ones I've sold and some of the ones I still have. And I ship them out. I can ship them out anywhere. And yeah, that's my painting story. That's my artist story. And I wrote a
Yeah.
children's book that's on Amazon called The Perils of Isabella the Great Dane, about her being my service dog and a Great Dane, because I've always had Great Danes since I was in my 20s. And I have another one now too. And she's a puppy. My husband gave her to me for my birthday, and her name is Tallulah. She's an all black Great Dane. She's beautiful. She's 14 months old now. And she's not here. She's at dog camp because I figured I didn't want to be distracted with you because her head would be right here right now. I mean, she's huge. She's 110 pounds already. So yeah, really, really cool. I love Great Danes. So when I wrote the book, um, I got it on Amazon Prime and I got 5 stars on it. So people have been buying it and giving and leaving nice reviews. And I wrote it about myself and my service dog, my Great Dane. And I didn't do the illustrations. I hired someone to do the illustrations. But there you go. I wrote a book and I don't even have children, and it's a children's book. It's for kids. And I knocked it out like in 2 days, and I never did it again. Don't know why, but it's just that's the clock that ticks, inside of me. How it does it when I look at the paintings and I look at the book and I look at a nice career that I've been given, and again, I'm very blessed and fortunate and grateful. That's just the way I know. That's the way I beat my own drum.
When you set your mind to something, I mean, you do it. You knock it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, maybe it's just that I was born that way, I think, because I was always a good kid growing up. I never gave my parents any problems. I'm an only child, but I wasn't spoiled because I don't come from money. I don't come from spoiling, like giving. My parents were both, worked very hard. My father was a journalist for the Miami News, and then he went to the University of Miami and became their head publicity writer. And I got to go to the University of Miami for free, which is a very expensive school. And that was a perk that my dad went there to work so I can have a really good education because we couldn't afford $35,000 a year back then, and that's the way it is. But I don't come from, like royalty or, grand class or anything. But I come from a Cuban mom who was very beautiful. She had blue eyes and black hair, and she was one of 16 children from Havana, Cuba. And I loved my mother very much. She died when I was 44 of cancer. And then my father and I were glue. My dad he did a lot of acting here in Miami. He was like the well-known actor that was always in musicals. He did 60 musicals. Okay. I got to act with my father twice. And Annie Get Your Gun and Cactus Flower. I got to act with my dad, and it was great. And my dad died at 93 years old. And that day he asked me for a green light to let him go. And he said, come on, yeah, I'm tired. It is, we've had a long run, kid. And I said, it's okay, Daddy. It's okay to go. I'll be fine. And that's how my dad left me. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I had closure with both my parents, and I have to go to my grave saying that I was a great daughter. I really was. I gave my mom and dad a lot of love and a lot of attention, and I was there for them at the end. So, you know, it's a big deal for me.
Let's say if like today, for example, if you were able to like talk with your parents, what would you say to them? What would you like to talk with them about?
Thank you for a wonderful childhood. Thank you for all the support you gave me when I said at the age of 12 that I wanted to be a famous actress. And thank you for not trying to talk me into being something else because you wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer. My parents were very supportive with dance classes and piano lessons and, taking me to every day to the school play to do rehearsals. And I mean, I became professional at the age of 19. I got my SAG card. And when I graduated the University of Miami, after 4 years, I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree from U of M. I went to school with, well, they're older than me, but we went to the same school and we got taught by the same teachers, was Ray Liotta and rest in peace. And later on in life, who knew I was going to be his girlfriend in a movie called Copland. And yeah, it's really weird how that happened. And then Stephen Bauer is my friend since I was 9 years old. His mom is my surrogate mother, Stephen Bauer from Scarface. And I'm not dropping names, but these are people that were part of my life and my growing up. And so, and Sylvester Stallone, how weird is that? He graduated from the University of Miami, but he's like, I guess, 80 years old now. And I did Copland with him, and he introduced me to a friend of his who introduced me to my current husband. So I wouldn't be married to this man 14 years if I didn't know Sylvester Stallone. That's how amazing that story is. Okay, cool, pretty cool, huh? Interesting life, mom and dad, I would say. You've given me the freedom to be the free spirit that I was born to be. And you gave me a lot of love. This is me talking to my mom and dad. They're both gone in heaven now. And I would say, I miss you both tremendously. I think about my parents every day. A little thought will come in while I'm driving. A little thought will come into my head, about a childhood moment, a Kodak moment when I was a teenager, when I decided to tell my parents that I was moving out at 17 and getting married for the first time at 17. And they were like, okay, because they trusted me. They knew I was a good kid. I wasn't up to, negative. I was always a positive kid. And I knew what I wanted. I just knew what I wanted my whole life. I knew what I wanted. That's pretty cool too, because a lot of people don't know what the hell they want or why they're even here or what their purpose is. But I was lucky enough to have that, even with all the bad stuff. I was never a person to discuss politics nor religion. My father was a Democrat and he was Jewish and he was born in New Jersey with Romanian and Russian my grandparents. And my mother was a full-blown Republican, Cuban, who left Cuba in 1954, I believe. My dad met her then and they got married. My dad went to Cuba for a visit and he met my mother at a barber shop. She was a manicurist there in Havana. And so because I was born in a household that was Jewish and Catholic and a household that was Republican and Democrat, I was fine with everything. I never took sides, and that's who I am. I just never took sides. Are you this or are you that? No, I'm just Mel. So it's better just not to get into any kind of, especially nowadays,
Hmm.
it's a sore subject with everybody. So I just refrain and I tell all my friends, and I have lots of good friends for 40, 50 years. I've kept my friendships, including Scott Rubin. And I work at that. See, I see my friends because I'm an only child, Sammy. I see my friends as a garden of roses, and there are four colors. So my favorite color rose is white, and that would be God, my mom, my dad, my husband, my dog. Then my second favorite color is pale pink, and that would be all my closest friends that I have fertilized, pruned, and watered the garden for in the last 50 years of my life. I have friends that I've known since I was 5. And I had a birthday party not too long ago here in my apartment. And I had the majority of the people here I've known 40, 50 years. And there were 35 people here. So this is a really good thing that I was able to maintain these friendships for so long. And it takes time and work and energy and effort. So that's it. I really value my friendships. And then the third color would be the yellow one. So not my favorite color, rose. And those are the people I do business with. Those are the people that work for me or that they're in the building here and I talk to them here and there. They're not close, but they're nice and they're in the yellow rose section of my garden. And then there's the red rose, which is my least favorite color, and those are all my enemies. Those are the people that I know are either envious or jealous or mean and have bad thoughts for me. And I know they exist and I know who they are. And they're in my garden too. And my mom used to say to me in Spanish, and I'll say it in English, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies even closer. Know who your enemies are. Know who the people that don't want to help you or that are jealous of you, because there's a lot of jealousy and envy. And I don't have that, but I recognize it when I see it. Thank God I don't have that. I've never been a jealous wife. I've never been a jealous friend. I know what that is. I know what that is because I feel it from other people coming towards me and I don't like it. Makes me very uncomfortable. And sometimes I'm even around somebody that the hairs on my back go, like a cat. I can feel a really strong negative energy. And so I just have chosen at this time of my life, this golden years that I have, I've chosen to just stay, keep my distance, even though I know who they are. Keep them close in knowledge, but distant in friendship. It's my theory, and I've been like that. I can't remember. I think it started when I was a teenager, putting people in like rose-colored categories in my garden categories.
I was actually going to ask you about this specific part in Unbelievable that actually caught my eye. I always enjoyed it. It's kind of a recurring thing, but it's the song and dance that the family does after the Bills score like a touchdown. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I sure do. That's actually a real dance. That was not created by Scott. Scott took that and put it in the movie. That's a real dance. And the lady that has the tattoos, the drunk lady with the tattoos and the big
Yes.
boobs, she was the original woman back in the 19, I think 60s or 70s that created that dance.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And he got a hold of her and she did that part in the movie. He wrote that part in for her. She's the original one who started that thing, with the Buffalo Bills dance, which, of course took, it went to fire. I mean, people, they know what that is. It's that march. And it's so yes, she was the one who originally started. If you saw what she looked like back then, you believe it. My God, she was so attractive, really attractive woman. I think she was in the commercial world, in the 60s and 70s. And she's a really nice lady. She really is. She's really, really nice lady. And she's professional. And the lady who played the nurse, the black lady who played the nurse, oh, I loved her. She was wonderful. I had my moment with her, boy. She's amazing, amazing lady, truly. And the other thing is Christopher Chisholm, the one who plays his brother, big guy. He's also went to college with Scott and I. And then Carmen Moore, who is not in the movie, I tried to get her in, but she was going to play my sister-in-law. She couldn't do it. She couldn't go out there. She had a bunch of cats and couldn't leave them. I could want to strangle her. But she was going to be in the movie, and she ended up being one of the producers of the film, Carmen Moore. So Carmen, Christopher Chisholm, we call him Chiz, Scott and I all went to the University of Miami at the same time, studied with the same teachers, and graduated at the same time. And here we are in our 60s doing this together. Tell me that isn't the coolest.
It's a full circle moment. That's
It's a
that's
full
amazing.
circle. It most certainly is. It most certainly is, yes. And I really have to tell you that I believe in keeping those very special friendships. I'm not even, I'm not even open to, I mean, I'm open, of course I'm open, but I'm not even interested in new people in my life. I'm not, I have the ones that I have and that they keep me busy. I have great friends in New York City. That's where I'm going to end up. I'm going to end up dying in my apartment in New York City. I know it. And then I have great friends in Miami, Florida. And I have awesome friends in Los Angeles. And I have a couple friends in London. And that's, I mean, if you can count your friends on one hand, I can count them on two. So that's blessed. That's blessed. And I've also had to cut, some toxicity out of my life as well. That's, people who are just not working out. It just doesn't work out. And that's it. You have to learn, what how to keep yourself healthy and without drama in your life. And gosh, I just I just now like being quiet with my dog and my husband. We travel. We live a very quiet life. We have our friends that we go out on date night with. And you know what I mean? It's just like a really nice, simple lifestyle. And I love it. I love it. I get to sleep. I love sleeping. I'm a big sleepaholic. That's the holic I am. It's a sleepaholic. I love to sleep.
Hey, sleep is important. Can't argue that.
Mm-mm. I love to sleep. It restores me and it makes me feel
Mhm.
good the next day because then I have energy when I wake up. Remember, I have a Great Dane puppy now, and that's
What I want to know is because I was watching the movie, that massive TV in the film, like
oh,
that huge. Where do I buy one of those?
I don't know where they got that. Props got that. I don't know, but when I saw it, I almost peed my pants. I've never seen anything like it. They bought a TV and then, well, I think what they did was they took it to a shop and they built the wood around it and put the speakers in. So they didn't actually buy the TV like that. They bought a TV, the largest one they can get, and then built the body around it. That's what I think happened.
Yeah, because I saw it like pop on the screen. I was like, it's like holy cow!
Yeah.
I
But
don't think I've seen a one like that before.
no, and that was, of course, Rick, his brother, who's wealthy, does that. And then, I make a comment in the film of, your brother always gets his way, because he has money and he doesn't have to struggle like we do. And yeah, so that was a moment I asked Scott to keep in the movie that I wanted to let the audience know that, I was very against his brother always manipulating and always trying to have his way with his brother, and that means me and my daughter as well in the storyline, right.
Hmm.
Okay, so yeah, no, the TV thing was oh, when Rick says, oh, do you like the TV I bought you? Like almost as if he needs recognition from Scott's character to, to be content. I don't know, it's a weird thing, but this is all a lot of it's based on the truth, Sammy. A lot of this is based on the truth. And I portray Evie, his wife, who I've known as long as I've known Scott. I met Scott in college, but he met Evie right after he graduated out in Los Angeles, and he married her and had 3 children with her. She's awesome. She's a great lady, and she's just a lot of fun to be with. I love her. So I lived in their house for 31 days. They have a Victorian house, it's 4 floors in Buffalo. And she and I said I needed to be around her. I needed to feel her. I mean, I don't know if she and her 3 children are happy or not with the portrayal that I did, but if they're not, I'm sorry. I did the best that I could. But if they are, then I'm really happy that because it's hard to portray someone who uh it's hard. It's hard because you don't want to insult anybody, right? If you see flaws in that person, you don't want to let that person know that you see that flaw so much that it has to be in the personality. So I I use the alcohol as a crutch because I felt that when she and I were spending 31 days together, we got real on we cooked together in her kitchen and we got wine and we really let go. And I said, this is really fun because we're uninhibited when we drink. You get uninhibited. And then, we stopped and we're fine. You just start drinking water. But I wanted to put something unusual in her personality, and that's why I chose that. Wanted to throw something in there that was, that was a flaw that because she's really kind of flawless. There's nothing wrong with her. She's a really cool lady. And she's been with him, I think now 40 years. I think 40 years. Yeah. And they're lovely people. I love them both. They're family to me. Well, I send them something every Thanksgiving because they're Jewish and they don't really celebrate Christmas. So but anyway, yeah. So Evie is a great girl, but he changed her name to Edie
Yes.
instead of Evie, but her real name is Eve. Evie. Yeah. What else do you want to know?
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. No, sort of going off that, I guess just, talking about, I guess, your overall filming experience. If you could describe your experience filming this movie in just one word, what would it be and why?
It would have to be two words. A gas. A total gas. It was so much fun. I'm trying to convince him to write another film. And he's burnt out from trying to, get this one off the ground. But he's got it on Amazon. Boy, I give him a lot of credit. I really do. He's a workaholic too. He won't stop. He wakes up in the morning and I don't think he sleeps much, tell you the truth. I've always felt that Scott had some sort of genius level, something because he's really, really smart. And he and I are very similar. Like I'm the sister he never ever had. We have ear problems, exactly the same. We have anxiety issues, exactly the same. We both have big hearts, exactly the same. And we're both pretty talented people, I would say. Both of us are. And I always knew that about him. And he says that he's always known that about me. So we share a lot of the same acquaintances from college. And the fact that Carmen Moore came in to the picture was great. And she, raised money. And Christopher Chisholm was a breeze to work with. He's one of the greatest actors I think I've ever worked with. He's amazing. Christopher Chisholm we call him Chiz. He plays the brother. I told you, Rick. He's a big guy. And he was Ray Liotta's best friend. They had lived together a couple times during life in New York and Los Angeles. And Ray was always there for him, and he was always there for Ray. So when Ray died like 3 years ago, it was devastating to all of us. Didn't expect that in his 60s to die in his sleep like that. Kind of weird, but I don't know. It was in the Dominican Republic. Who knows what really happened? Um, so yeah, and we have a really interesting background, all of us do. And to be able to do a movie together, I want to do another one. I really do. I want to do another comedy, because that's what we're good at. That's what we're really, really good at. I mean, I could do a drama with him anytime. There's a mental institution that's very famous that turned into a hotel. It's in Buffalo. And every time I go to Buffalo, I ask him to take me by there because it scares me. The building scares me. And they kept the cages that they used to keep humans in. The crazy, crazy, crazy humans that were wild. They would put them in cages like an animal in a zoo. And they kept the cages on the side of the building, and it freaks me out. I said, we got to make a movie around this, man. And he goes, you kidding me? This place is fucking haunted. I mean, like, okay, all right then.
I
But
think that would be an interesting film.
yeah,
I'd
it would
watch
be.
it.
It would be. And it's now, like I said, it's now a real modern hotel. But I won't go there because I have I have a little fear of that. I respect that dark side of the world, and I know it exists. But like when this, like the Chateau Marmont, it's the same kind of the Chelsea in New York, the Carlisle in New York. These are all very, very famous hotels where people have died and famous people have stayed there through the last 100 years. Real great stories that come from these old hotels in Buffalo. There's like three of them. There's three of them. I've stayed in one of them. But it's fascinating to me. It truly is. It's just fascinating. The ghost world and all of that. But it exists. It definitely does.
Kind of in general, what do you think the future has in store for you?
I don't know. I just take one day at a time, actually. Um, what do I wish for is one thing. What will happen is another. And what may not happen is another. But I do know one thing that's very, very interesting that just happened, like to me. It started about 6 months ago. Um, you see this number right here? I wear it's 27. You can see it.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay. So my birthday's October 27, right? And I talk to God all the time when I'm driving or when I'm alone or even when I'm with my dog or whatever. And I just said, just show me a sign that that you're around me. Just show me a sign that, from the universe that everything's cool. And I let it go. And all of a sudden, my husband has been seeing this, and I keep showing him because it's really now he believes he can see it himself. Every time I turn around and I notice it, it's either 11:27 or 3:27, or I'm driving and I'm looking at and I look and it says Southwest 27th Avenue, or I'm driving and the speed thing comes up and it's 27 miles an hour. My car is going on one of those speed things. The number 27 is every single day. I am seeing it really, and I smile now. So what did I do? I went to my library, which is called Google. And I wrote to Google, what does it mean when you see the number 27 every day? Well, it gives you an explanation, but then the two things that really are clear is that you have a major guardian angel around you constantly. And whatever it is that you're doing, you're on the right track, you're on the right road. Don't veer to the left and don't veer to the right. Stay on the road and trust it, the path. It's like 27 is letting me know numerology, I guess is what you call it. But I didn't know this. I didn't know this until that number kept showing up and it's my birthday. But I didn't look for it. I didn't know that this existed. This just started happening. But to the point where the universe was making it very clear to me every single day that I'm guarded and that I'm doing the right thing. So that is the true thing. My husband started noticing it. I said, look, babe, look what time it is, 3:27. Or look, 27th Avenue. I keep saying that, but it's more than that. It's like the number keeps coming up. And it's either with a street or a time or a speed bump thing, or it's just or it's $27, I'm telling, or it's $10 and 27 cents. It's the number every day keeps showing up to me. And I've been able to take that very positively and use it to keep me calm and keep me direct. I'm keeping myself so that when an audition comes in or something goes, doesn't go right, I trust it. It's not supposed to. Something else will come. And I know that that's is cliche, but it's the way it's working out for me. And I pay attention to these signs from the universe because really that's all we have. We're dumped here naked and alone without a manual. We don't have a we don't have an instruction booklet on how to live life. And then you die and you don't know what day you're going to die and you don't know how you're going to die. You don't know when, but you know you're going to die and you leave naked and alone because you leave the corpse with the clothes on in the box and then your spirit goes somewhere. So that's how why I listen to the universe that talks to me. And it's now it's with this number 27. I hope it never goes away because it's keeping me very safe. I feel safe. And I think the guardian angel is my father because when he was dying that last day, he, like I said, I took his hand and he asked me for permission. He asked me, to let him go. He was scared to leave me, but he loves my husband. He loved my husband. So I think he knew I was in good hands. But interestingly enough, I said to my father, Sammy, his name was Sandy. Sanford was his real name, and we always called him Sandy. And I called him Daddy. I said, Daddy, when you go, would you do me a favor? Would you try, if you could, to let me know you're okay? Just don't come in, don't scare the shit out of me. Don't show up, but just let me know somehow. I'll be aware of something between you and I that you're okay. And his answer was, if they let me, if they let me, wherever he was going, if they let him. And he did. And he did. The same day he died, my husband and I went to lunch at my mother's favorite restaurant, which was a fish restaurant. And at that restaurant, a little girl shows up and she was completely distorted. I've never seen I don't know what kind of disease this child had. She was maybe a year old and dressed up in a red velvet outfit with red hat. And her mother and father were with her and they took her and they sat her down. No one else was in the restaurant. My husband and I and them. And I see the child and it's shocking to see a face that like almost I can't describe. I don't have a word to say what this face looked like. And I'm looking at her, and my husband's kicking me under the table, like, don't stare at her, don't look at her. And I don't know what came out of me. I'm here that my mother's favorite. My father was madly in love with my mother, by the way. They were divorced after 23 years, but he was madly in love with my mother. Long story short, I look at the lady and I said, what a beautiful child you have. I said, what's her name? And she looks at me and she says, Emma. That was my mother's name. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. My father, my father reached out that way, and then a few days later he did it again, and then a week went by and he did it again, and now it's to 27. So I know it's my father. He's around me. He's definitely around me. And so they let him. Wherever he is, they let him.
That's really moving. Wow. Wow, wow, you got me there. I don't even know what else to say.
I know. There's nothing else to say. It's a
Mm.
true story, and I'm living it. And that's why I say I have great faith in the universe and in God because I'm protected and I know I am. I know I am. I asked for it and I got it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm really happy, that you and I had this opportunity today to do this because it's again, it's part of the 27. You're supposed to do this with me today. That's all. It's supposed to happen. And you
I,
keep doing what you're doing, Sam.
oh, gosh, thanks, Mel. Thank you. No, I've done, a lot of these interviews and stuff, and you're undoubtedly one of the most wonderful folks I've have had the pleasure of speaking to and connecting with, and and being
I
able to
feel
share
the
this
same
time
way
with you.
about you. That's why when you reached out the other day and you said, I saw the movie and I really got excited for you and all of that, that's when I said to myself, I think it's time again that we meet. Then we're doing this. And that again was something that just came out of me naturally, that uh, I want Scott to see this interview and I want Carmen to see this interview and I want Christopher Chisholm to see this interview. I want them to know, and I want. I told you the guy who won the Tony on Broadway. He's been for me. He's been an angel. because when I reached out to some other people for help, they said no. They gave me excuses. And when I went to him, Wilson made it happen in less than 24 hours. And now I have representation. You're doing your social media thing, right?
Uh,
You're still,
yes, you're still doing social media journalism. I'm fully pursuing the whole journalism thing. It's what I want to do, and
that's
I
what
love
my
doing it.
father was, Sammy. He was a journalist. He was a hell of a journalist. He really did great in the Miami News. Remember, that's in the 1960s and 70s and 80s. And I have a wall of photographs of my dad interviewing Desi and Lucy, Jackie Gleason, Red Skelton, Ed Sullivan, Jane Mansfield, Jerry Lewis. I have it on my wall because it's part of my father's journey as a journalist. He was a reporter and he went into acting when he was in college and he loved acting. So I got that from him. I got my parents, both of their personalities, and I got the acting from him and the singing and from my mom. So I am he used to make a joke when I was a kid growing up. He used to say, "You're adopted, kid." I said, "It's impossible. I look like you and mommy. It's impossible." He was very funny. My dad was really funny. So, yeah, keep doing the journalism. That's a wonderful, wonderful disposition.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I
Profession.
love doing it.
I didn't mean disposition. I meant profession. Sorry. That was the wrong word. It's a great profession. It's honest and it's exciting and it'll keep you happy because that's what you love
Mm.
doing. And
Yeah.
that's the bottom line, man. That's the bottom line is to be happy. That's the bottom. That's it. It doesn't get any better than that. Find your happiness. Because those little 5 minutes that you're pissed off at something, you're not going to remember that, when you're like getting ready to split this world, you're not going to remember that. You're going to remember the good moments. You're going to remember all of that. That's what's going to come to you. So have as many good moments as you can. And yes, once we get off this interview, you and I will make some sort of agreement when you come to Miami. If you ever come to Miami, we'll meet in person.
I would love that. That would be
You could
wonderful.
come to my house and you could meet my husband and you could meet my dog. And I live right on the ocean.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I would absolutely love that for
I'll
sure.
even take you out for dinner. My husband and I will be more than happy to take you out for dinner. If you love Italian food, we'll take you to Prima Pasta. How's that, Sammy?
It sounds wonderful. I love Italian food.
Good.
It's my
So let
favorite.
me know when you come to Miami and we'll make it happen. Either a Friday night or a Saturday night
A
or a Thursday
sure
night.
thing. Sure thing. Absolutely. Yeah, I will be the first person to let you know for sure.
Okay?
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Let's do it.
Okay, we will. And thank you so much for believing in Unbelievable, the movie, and allowing me to speak about it. And you can throw this all out into the universe now, and maybe somebody will really enjoy it and give us a great review. The more reviews we get, the better Amazon will do for us. That's how it works. I just learned that. I didn't know that, but Scott told me that when people leave good reviews, it brings the movie higher and higher on the scale of importance on Amazon Prime. So, the more attention the movie gets, the better the movie does. I mean, it's not for everybody, not everyone is a football person, but then again, you don't have to be a football person. This is about a nutty family. They're out of control.
You see, yeah, that's the thing about it. I think at its core, it's about family. No, that's what this movie's about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm also, I also love the sports aspect too. As
Well,
a
yes,
as
and
a sports fan.
I know you are, and so are millions and millions of other people in this country, big time sports fan, even in the world. But when it comes to football, listen, the Buffalo Bills, I knew nothing. I was never into football. Uh, the Buffalo Bills are one hell of a team. And the movie's about them, maybe winning or maybe not winning. I'm not going to give it away. But the bottom line is they've come so close to winning so many times. And
Hmm.
it takes a hell of a team to get to the Super Bowl. And they've been at the Super Bowl a lot. Think about that. So the superstition is when are they going to win? And is the superstition keeping them from winning? That's what the whole movie has the genre about. Because there's a lot of information about the Buffalo Bills, how they started and how they became this very strong, powerful football team. So yeah, but I'm not going to give it away. I know, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
That's not
yes,
cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That'll kill
No
me.
spoilers here. No spoilers.
No, no spoilers. Absolutely not. Yeah. So okay, Sammy, is there anything else you want to ask me?
I think we've pretty much ran the gambit here. I
I
think
think
that
so too. I
yeah.
think I think so too. I'm excited to see the final cut of what you're going to do with this. And I'll send it to certain people, okay?
Yeah, it sounds
By the
wonderful.
way, I think on my new website, I think I have your interview from last time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure that my web guy did it. He put your interview on there, and I'm going to put this one on there.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Yeah. Oh my
Okay?
gosh, that would be amazing.
Throw
Wow.
it out to the universe. Don't be afraid of anything.
Yeah, for absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
As my father would always say when we would hang up the phone, three words: bye for now.
Yes. Bye for now, Mel. Same to you, and God bless as well.
God bless you too.